Let the dawn of a new day bring understanding and love. Oh, inside, bringing hope and make you feel alright. Rainbow, the promise, the future, and life. Love is light that's within me, shine to the whole world.
Hello, Mimi, baby. Thanks for joining.
Light, let the dawn of a new day bring understanding and love. Oh, inside.
You're welcome.
Inside.
Hello, people. You're welcome. Let's send it to our friends, please. I'm doing the same.
Bringing hope and make you feel alright.
Yes, indeed.
Rainbow, the promise, the future, and life. Love is light that's within me. Shine to the whole world. Whole world. Light, let the dawn of a new day bring understanding and love. Oh, inside. Inside.
Okay, let's see. Thank you.
Bringing hope.
Janet, you're welcome.
Rainbow,
Srijana, I see you. You're welcome. Yeah.
Love is light that's within.
Princess, you're welcome. King Ope, you're welcome. Let's send to all our friends. Thanks for joining. Deborah, you're welcome.
Inside.
Thank you. Oluwadami Larissa, thanks for joining. What a long name. Hello, VY, thanks for joining. Let's share the live to our friends, please. Thank you for joining.
The promise, the future.
I see you, Eugenia. You're welcome.
Love is light that's within me, shine to the whole world.
No Love Lost 36, you're welcome.
Bring understanding and love. Oh, inside.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining. You're welcome. Okay. Hello. Another day to be grateful. Tammy T, I see you. You're welcome. Kingsman, thanks for joining. You're welcome to Insight with FunmiRoyal this Thursday. Another day the Lord has made. And indeed, I will rejoice and be glad in it. It's Somo. I see you. Thanks for joining. Guys, it's Thursday today. And you know, on Insight on Thursdays, I always talk about marriages and relationships. That's the talk today. So the topic I'm going to be telling us soon. But before I do that, please do me one big favor. I see quite a number of people in the viewers eye, or is it in the FYP? Thank you for joining. Please let's share to all our friends, especially your married friends. Let them come and get one or two nuggets from here so we can enjoy our marriages, our relationships. It's a good thing because we don't have all the answers. We don't know it all. A lot of us are in marriages, and we have issues, challenges every now and then. Please invite them, let them be part of this talk today. They might just learn one or two things. Thank you so much for everyone following me already. I really appreciate you. When I'm done with the live, I'll be able to join you or follow you back rather. So please don't forget to like the live as well. You're welcome to Insight with FunmiRoyal today. And later on, I'm going to be bringing my puzzle as usual. After the talk, the serious talk, just to wind down a bit, I'm going to bring a puzzle today. So in about an hour's time, I'm going to tell us what the puzzle is. And this is from last week because nobody got it. So if you're able to get it today, you will get the gift. So you have to come into the box to get a gift. And also the topic today, I want to hear from us. What's our take on that? Maybe you don't agree with, some of the things I've said, or you have something else to add to the talk. Please feel free. Queen, I see you. Thanks for joining. So the topic today really, I tried to put it on the screen, but I'm not sure if you guys can see it. If anybody can see the topic on the screen, please put a thumbs up there, but otherwise it's fine. I'll tell us. Jay Black, you're welcome. Let's share the lives to our friends as we carry on in the talk. So the topic for today is forgiveness in marriage. Forgiveness in marriage. I don't know how to put this here. Before I go on, Mrs. Williams, you're welcome. Thanks for joining. Let's share the live to all our friends, all our followers. Let them be part of this talk today. The title, like I said, thank you so much, Mrs. Williams. Forgiveness in marriage is the topic for today. However, please, if you're just joining, you're welcome. Know that I am not referring to domestic violence or domestic abuse in this talk I'm going to give today. So if you want to look at it as a disclaimer or whatever you want to call it, we are not looking at DVs and DAs. We're talking about normal, healthy relationship that has normal ups and downs, but not intense stuff like DAs and DVs. So please be mindful. And at interval, as I give this talk, I will remind us, because some people might just jump in the middle of the talk and they'll start assuming what is FunmiRoyal talking about. So I am not addressing domestic violence and I'm not addressing domestic abuse, if you get me right. So I'll go into the talk, but we're talking about forgiveness in marriage. So today I want to discuss this important and transformative aspect of marital relationships. Forgiveness in marriage. Forgiveness in marriage. Forgiveness is a crucial component in maintaining a healthy and enduring partnership, okay? It allows couples to overcome conflicts, heal emotional wounds, and strengthen their bond. Once again, I'm not talking about DVs and DAs. Dennis, thanks for joining. So forgiveness, what is forgiveness altogether? Let's just even break it down a bit. So forgiveness is the process of letting go of the resentment, bitterness, and the desire for revenge against someone who has wronged you. Thank you so much for liking the live. Thank you. So in the context of marriage, it means making a conscious decision, to release negative feelings towards your spouse, towards your husband, towards your wife, and working towards reconciliation and renewal of relationship. And the truth is, like I've shared here, I've been married for over 25 years. I have offended my husband and he's had to forgive me. He has offended me and I've had to forgive him. Mary, you're welcome. Monique, you're welcome. Thanks for joining. So forgiveness is just inevitable. It's something we would have to do, especially when we have said for better, for worse, till death do us part and all of that, so we have to let go of the hurts, the feelings of betrayal or whatever it may be. You're welcome, Mary. You're welcome. So it's very important that we learn to forgive one another in our marriage relationship. Mind you, I'm not talking about domestic violence or domestic abuse, which is far extreme. So we just want to calm things down a bit today and talk about, normal day-to-day occurrences. And this is how we can learn to live together in peace, in accord with our spouses, especially when they've done something to really hurt us, or when they have, it could be a mistake, it could be anything really that really has hurt you, and they are there to come seek your forgiveness. And it's on us. Fine, we're hurting. It might take a while, it might take a couple of days or whatever, how long you need, but we need to learn to forgive so we can still enjoy our relationship. So why is forgiveness important in marriage? I'm gonna go into that. Forgiveness is very important, very crucial in marriage, so that we can heal emotionally. Geraldine, thanks for joining. Emotional healing, it's very important. So forgiveness promotes emotional healing by allowing individuals to move past the pain and the hurt. Holding on to grudges can cause prolonged emotional distress, and if you're not careful enough, you might just start losing feelings, that love feeling for your spouse. Connie, you're welcome. I mean, it's not really a good place to be. So we need to tackle things as we go along. Especially, this is a person who said, I do, till death do us part. For better, for worse, for whatever, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. And I'm not making excuses for anyone to offend their spouses either. So let's be mindful how we treat one another. All of those things, we'll talk about. So the reason why I said it's very important to forgive our spouse, you will have some sort of emotional healing when you do forgive your spouse. And another thing I mentioned is strengthening relationships. When you learn to forgive your spouse for whatever it is they've done to offend you or to hurt you or to break their trust or whatever it may be, you need to forgive them so that your relationship can be strengthened. It fosters trust, understanding when you learn to forgive your spouse, and also brings about more intimacy, okay, which are the foundational truth, to a strong marriage. Your spouse may offend you, they will upset you, they will make mistakes, it will hurt you, it will even hurt your children sometimes. But because of the love you have for this person, you've built, some of you have been married for years and years, and it's like, if you sit down to count how many number of times you've kind of offended each other, I bet you would have lost count by now. Global team, thanks for joining. So when you learn to forgive, it kind of strengthens your relationship. You know your spouse's weakness, you can be there to strengthen them, encourage them, look out for them so they don't make the same mistakes again. And again, it's very important because it prevents resentment. When you forgive your spouse, because when they've done something wrong, you almost start hating them. I don't want to use the word hate because it's a very strong word. You start disliking them. Okay, let's go with that. Michelle, thanks for joining. And if care's not taken, that resentment, if you don't deal with it, it starts building up. So regular practice of forgiveness prevents the build-up of resentment and bitterness, which can erode the relationship over time. Some things are left for months and months on end, and you find out that sometimes you just look at your spouse and you just have this irritation, this bitterness towards them. That means you haven't forgiven them for a particular thing or many things, I don't know. So as usual, as I will say, when we're doing this talk, let's kind of self-reflect. How are we? Because all of these things contribute to our mental well-being. And if you're not okay mentally, it will affect a lot of things you're doing. Uncle Shams, thanks for joining. Thank you. Let's share this live to all our friends to be part of this talk today. So why is forgiveness important? It's very important, because it will promote it will promote personal growth. Let's put it that way. It would help promote personal growth in the sense that your spouse has done this, they've learned from their mistakes, and they've come to you for forgiveness. It will kind of bring some growth because they will grow out of whatever mistake they've made, to know that they shouldn't do that again, or they should not. Once they see it, they will flee, like Joseph had to flee. Dorcas, thanks for joining. So it brings about some sort of personal growth, not even just for the offender, if I may say that, the one who has offended, but for the offended, so to say. So forgiving helps individuals to grow by teaching them empathy, compassion, and patience. all of these things. Yes, guys, please feel free to follow one another on this platform. Now you're welcome. Everyone joining in here, they're here because of this talk, in particular. So please, let's follow one another. It's okay to follow one another, only if you're not going to unfollow them later. So please, let's be careful, okay? Let's follow one another. Let's like the live. Let's share to all our friends. So like I said, it's very important to practice forgiveness in our marriages for emotional healing, to strengthen our relationship, to prevent resentment from building, because it's only today, they've sinned or they've erred or they've gone wrong. There's still, you're going to live the rest of your lives together, and there's still so many offenses that will come. You have to learn to let go. My Bible talks about forgiving 70 times 7 times or 70 times. If you want to do that in a day, that's even in one day. So I mean, one has to be living with the devil for them to be offending you like 4,900 times in one day. No, it can be. So all the Bible, I believe, is saying in a nutshell is we need to have an open heart to forgiving one another, because offenses will come from your spouse, from your loved one. Yes, believe it or not. I've been through that many times. My husband has been through that many times. And yet here we are 25 years on. So we need to have a bigger heart, open heart to forgiving one another. It's even for our own good, because bitterness will make you look older before you get to that age, and it brings all sort of stress, lack of sleep and all of those things. So you'll be doing yourself a lot of good. And again, I will say, I'm not referring to domestic violence or domestic abuse, because that's a different ball game altogether. So we're talking about normal man and wife relationship, a healthy one at that, which will go through normal day-to-day challenges. Okay, so challenges to forgiving. There are challenges to forgiving, because it's not an easy thing to do, I must say. I sometimes when I remember certain things, I'm like, God, if not for by your grace that I've had to let go of this thing. And I bet my husband will probably say the same as well. Carl Kiji, thanks for joining. Michelle, I see you. Thank you guys for joining. So there will be challenges. Even when you want to forgive, you might find it difficult, find it hard to. Of course, there are challenges to it. And I'm just going to mention about 4. There's so many because of our time and other aspects I want to talk about today. If you're just joining, you're welcome. The topic is forgiveness in marriage. Koi, I see you. So one of the challenges, things that can make it difficult for you to forgive your spouse, is pride and ego. Yes, we have to mention it. I have to go there. Moms, you're welcome. Letting go of hurt often requires overcoming personal pride and ego. What will it cost you, really? Sometimes I try to refrain from using man or the woman. Either spouse might feel too big, like, no, you did this to me. No, their pride will not even let them hear you or hear what you have to say, let alone forgiving you. And of course, their ego sets in as well. They feel, they're very egoistic about the situation, because they're not the one that has offended. They feel like on top of you, or whatever the feeling. It's not a good thing, It's your spouse. Fine, they've done something wrong, terrible. If you like, don't talk to them for a couple of days or whatever. But somewhere in your heart, you still have to find, a space to forgiving them if you want to carry on in that marriage relationship. So don't let your pride or ego come in the way of you forgiving that loved one. You love them truly. I know they've hurt you. So please, on behalf of all the spouses out there, we're begging each other to please not let pride and ego make us not forgive our spouses. So please, another thing that can challenge a couple from forgiving one another is deep hurt. There's so many offenses. Some are just light and some are so deep. Let's mention it, maybe infidelity, or you've broken the trust, or you've not been loyal. There's some deep offenses that would come, and it will cause deep pains, making forgiveness very difficult. Sometimes it might take maybe months, before you can find it in your heart to forgive them for that deep hurt they've caused you. But in it all, at the end of the day, we still have to find it in our heart to forgive them, regardless of what they have done. We would have to move on for our own sake, even. Are you not? I see you. Another challenge is fear of repetition, the fear that a hurtful behavior will recur and can hinder forgiveness. In your mind, you're thinking, "Ugh, if you forgive now, what if they do it again?" You're just thinking. So you might not want to forgive so that they would, you be in that space, and of course they'll still be working on eggshells and find it difficult to say stuff or whatever, and you're there because the fear of being hurt again. I can't promise, it's not guaranteed that your spouse will not hurt you again, but we have to move past the present and the current hurt, the here and now. How are you feeling? You still feel that resentment, you feel that bitterness, you feel this deep hurt, and you're afraid, you're afraid to forgive them because of repetition of what they've done. Please find it in your heart, if you have to speak to them how you're feeling. Please do. Like I always say, communication is key. And another thing that can hinder people from forgiving one another is misunderstanding forgiveness. When you misunderstand the forgiveness your spouse is looking for, tendency is you think you're forgiven, or they think you've forgiven them, meanwhile you haven't, and you're still carrying on. Love, we are welcome. So some people believe that forgiving means condoning that behavior or forgetting the incident, which is not the case. Okay, so if you decide to forgive your spouse, do not think that, oh, because I've forgiven them maybe easily, because you're just a soft person, you find it hard to hold grudges or to hold things or people in your heart. And the moment they say, I am sorry for this, you're not even listening to any explanation, you just decide to forgive them. And that might bring some sort of fear, because you think because you've so easily forgiven them, they go back again and do the same thing. So it's not that you're condoning what they have done, and it's not like you're just forgetting the incident like that. Even after you say, I forgive you, however, I want to talk about it. How did we get here? How did you get here? What happened? You have to be critical in your thinking, and at the same time be empathetic towards your spouse, because for them to have done that which they've never done before, something may have led to that. It could be their state of mind. Like I said, I'm not making excuses, and I'm not saying just go and hurt your spouse because they have a soft heart they will forgive you. No, that's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that you have to have that understanding spirit to know why they did what they did. Was it a one-off mistake, or is it something they've even done before in the past and now they've done it again? Because sometimes these things happen. It's not the end of the world still. As long as you're still alive and breathing, your spouse is still alive and breathing, sit down and talk about it. And like I would say, as a counselor, seek counsel if you need to, because this marriage is here to stay. Remember, I've been saying it for weeks and weeks. Let us promote the good marriages out there. On social medias all over, you just see couples breaking up, couples separating, couples trying out another, all sort of nonsense about marriages. But there are still good stuff happening in marriages, and I want us to be the one promoting that. Mimi, thanks for joining. So quickly, another thing I want to talk about again is steps to practicing forgiveness. It might be difficult, like I said. It's not everybody that forgives easily, but eventually they get there. Vimchi, thanks for joining. So, steps to practicing forgiveness: acknowledge the hurt. I mentioned that briefly. Recognize and accept the pain caused by your spouse. Because if you're in denial, you will not easily forgive, and it will linger on and on. Kindness, I see you, your spouse is not happy, they're lost, they need this love and affection and understanding and all of that, and you're in denial. I can't believe, no, he hasn't just said that, or she hasn't just said they did this. Oh no. So you need to recognize and accept that pain caused by your spouse. Ignoring or suppressing the hurt can prolong the healing process, and that's just the truth. Your heart might ache and ache on, and then you go to stress, you can't sleep, it's affecting your work production, it's affecting affection, especially when you have children in that relationship. All of those, it just keeps accumulating and kind of expanding more than necessary. You need to find a way in your heart to acknowledge how deeply you've been hurt. And let's be mindful, let's not be disrespectful, because that's the time you're angry, you just want to shout, you just want to let them know how much they've hurt you. I do understand all of the feelings, all of the emotions that comes with that, whether it's the man that is hurting or the woman that is hurting. We are flesh and blood and we will feel these things, so be mindful. Do acknowledge the pain they've caused you and let them hear that from you, instead of assuming, is she hurt, is she not, would they think about it, would they talk about it, or don't brush it aside, don't suppress it, face it head on. It's going to be hard, it's going to be tough, but that's the best way to dealing with things, instead of brushing it under the carpet. Another way is communicate openly. Again, I say that. Discuss the issue with your spouse. Honest communication really helps both parties to understand each other's perspective and feelings. And in the process, honestly, you might just get to hear your spouse like they're not really remorseful. Because sometimes some spouses are like, just tell her sorry and that's it. They're not remorseful. So it depends on how your spouse has come to say, forgive me. If they're the type like, it's just a one time, just let it go, get over it. That is not apology. That is not you seeking forgiveness. So you have to be remorseful. You that has offended your spouse, don't just assume that, oh, they don't need to know the details or what. You don't know what they want to know. And if your spouse comes and says, okay, you've said this thing, how did it happen? Tell me. It's for them to process and move on. Because if they don't ask those questions and they just say, I've forgiven you, the devil will bring all sort of thoughts to their mind, assumptions, and trust me, it'll be negative assumptions. Even the ones they haven't done, they will think about it and they will accept it because it's their own thinking. You haven't said what has happened for them to forgive you, for them to understand. So please communicate openly. Whatever it is you have done, don't leave some part out because you say, let me just tell her the bit that she needs to know. Be honest and open so that your spouse can understand you, understand your perspective about things. And if they need time to heal, please give them the time. It's not easy. You let the shoe turn round. Would you forgive that easily yourself? Even if you can, you're two different people. And the way you will handle things are kind of different, okay? So let's be mindful. I'm talking about steps to practicing forgiveness. I mentioned acknowledge the hurt, communicate openly. Another step is make a conscious decision. Yeah. Even strangers you don't know, you forgive easily. How much more your own loved one? Catherine, thanks so much for joining. Let's share the live. Let's share the live to all our friends. We're talking about forgiveness in marriage. It's very crucial because without forgiveness in marriage, I don't know if couples will last long, really. So another step to taking to forgiving one another is make a conscious decision. Decide to forgive. Forgiveness is a choice and a commitment to let go of the past. For the fact that you're talking about forgiveness now, that means whatever your spouse has done is in the past. Even if it's yesterday is past, it's gone. So you don't have to keep dwelling on it day in, day out, year in, year out. It's hard. It's hard. Talking from experience, it could be very hard. But we need to, kind of make a decision in our mind. You know what? For my sake, for my mental well-being sake, I'm just going to forgive and let go. It's a choice that you have to commit to. So let's be open-hearted. Another way is empathize with your spouse, because right now they might be feeling shame, guilt, feeling unworthy, feeling all sort of negativity. So try to understand the situation from your spouse's perspective. Like I said, the way we handle things are different. We're two different human beings. No matter how long we've lived with each other, we have our characters, we have our traits, we have, all our ups and downs and the good, bad and ugly and all of that. So we need to see from our spouse's perspective so we can have that understanding and we can easily or quickly forgive them. So this can foster compassion and reduce the anger as well. Imagine a full-grown man crying like a baby because they've done something wrong to hurt you. I mean, you just walk away or I don't know. So this will let you know that this person is remorseful and they're truly sorry for what they've done. And they'll be expecting you to put your arms around them to say, you know what, it's okay. Just even for that moment, console them. Let them know you still love them. Fine, you're angry. I'm very angry at this minute, but put away that for a second and just be there for your spouse. So that can help foster compassion and reduce the anger you're feeling. And again, set boundaries. Set boundaries, establish boundaries to prevent future hurt. Like I said, for the fact that you've forgiven them is not the key to say, go and offend again or go and do it again. No. So set boundaries. This can include setting clear expectations and improving communication. Sometimes you might have to spell things out for one another. Bumi, thanks for joining. Because sometimes your spouse better than anyone, how they think, how they reason. Sometimes you might have to verbatim say to them, this cannot happen again, or whatever it is cannot happen again. Otherwise, years can go by and it will still happen again. So you need to set that clear boundaries. What are your expectations of them, and what is the expectation from you as well? The fact that one spouse has offended now doesn't make you the all high and mighty. It might just be your turn tomorrow seeking forgiveness from your spouse. So we need to be mindful of that. And finally, again, I would mention seek professional help, because there's been cases where it could be financial difficulty. Your spouse has just put you in, accruing thousands and thousands of pounds of debts or whatever. And it's like, you are very angry and you don't see a way past it. You can't even think forgiveness, let alone be in the same room, or it could be that intense. So sometimes working with a counselor or a therapist can help navigate the complexities of forgiveness, because at the end of the day, time heals, as they say. That time you never can tell. Could be 5 years, could be less, could be more, but time heals. But if you need a therapist to help you manage that situation that has gone wrong, please do not feel bad about it. Do not feel ashamed about it, because from time to time we're human. We will need help to handle one or two things, So please don't be ashamed to seek counsel if you need that. Again, another aspect I'll look at is forgiveness in action, I call this. So forgiveness in action. You might say, oh, think about it for a second. You've been in that marriage relationship for how many years? Can you actually put a number to how many times your spouse has offended you, whether small, big, So forgiveness in action is what I call this segment, and is small offenses. So practice forgiving minor issues daily. If it's not worth losing your sleep over, such as forgetfulness or minor annoyances. Maybe they're always putting the cup by the sink and they don't rinse it out or something. Those are minor offenses, small offenses. Or they use the toothpaste and they don't cover it back, they just leave it there. Or they manage to help you wash the plates or what have you, and there's splashes of water all over the place, and you come and like, oh, again, you get offended somewhat, but those are small offenses. So please practice forgiveness daily so that you can still enjoy that relationship. And I bet you the day you come and the splashes of water has been wiped out, even you wonder, did they do it? Or maybe a water fairy came to wipe it off or something. You will know that. So please, little things, sometimes they forget. Maybe you have an appointment, you guys have planned, next week we're meeting at that place to go for whatever, and then you're there 1 hour, they're not there, your spouse is not there, and you're not called, oh, I'm just actually relaxing at home, I totally forgot. And you're like boiling, oh my god, so what's gonna happen now? And they're like, you know what, I'll be there in 20. And you're fuming already, and they come to the place and you're like, why? It's bound to happen. Life happens. Sometimes hustling and bustling makes you forget things like that. So it's not the end of the world. You might have to call wherever it is you're meant to go. If it's an appointment, just call to say what is. It shouldn't be the end of the world. Little things can happen like that. I've heard of cases where husbands forgotten the wife's birthday, vice versa, not just that way. or spouses forget their wedding anniversaries, or their moments, their special occasions. One of the spouses forgets and is like, hey, heavens will fall today. No, please. It happens, but I'm not making excuses for you not to remember your wife's birthday or your husband's birthday, please. So small offenses will come, minor annoyances here and there. The moment you practice to forgive that quickly, when the bigger offense comes, you might struggle a bit, but it's your nature. You will forgive them. This kind of sets a positive tone for that relationship at the end of the day. Then another one is, I'm talking about forgiveness in action now. Significant issues. Address larger issues with care and patience, and often with the help of a professional, or maybe a big daddy, big mommy, or an aunt that you trust their judgment. So far, you have respect for, both of you have respect for. Sometimes they may have to kind of intervene, because significant issues may require more time and effort to fully forgive, because your spouse may not just, they're in shock. You could do this. And it's like they're short of words. They're just too much in a shock, and they don't even know how to react. So sometimes, and even at that, sometimes you might have to look for someone they respect before you even, announce what you've done wrong, because you might need the presence of that person to help calm that situation. So, but whatever works, you know your spouse, you know how your relationship is. Igwe, thanks for joining. Guys, I really want to hear from you about this topic today, forgiveness in marriage. If you want to share more, or expand more on what I've said, or whatever your submission is, please feel free. I'm going to be bringing us into the box very soon so we can share with other people. Like I said, the desire or the hope or the goal at the end of this is we learn to how to enjoy our marriages and not endure. So sometimes we might not even know we're doing these things wrongly, so this kind of talks will help us put things in perspective. So thank you guys so much for joining inside today. Let's share to all our friends, especially the married ones. Even those who are aspiring to get married, they will learn one or two things from here. So self-forgiveness, this is very crucial. This is very, very important. It's also very essential to forgive yourself for mistakes. Self-compassion enables you to be better to forgiving others, okay? You've done something wrong. You're beating yourself. Even your spouse has forgiven you and you're still like feeling low. It will take time, especially depending on what you've done wrong. The enormity of it might just weigh you down. If it's just a minor one, just like the small one I talked about, of course it's okay. Maybe in a week or so you're over it and life is back to normal. But some may be very heavy, like I mentioned, infidelity or financial situation you've put your family into at this time. So you have to learn to forgive yourself. You want your spouse to forgive you and you have not even forgiven yourself. It's a mistake, it's been done. It's, put it in the past and look forward to the future, how you can make things better for yourself, your spouse, and your family as a whole. Okay, so that is forgiveness in action. Significant issues, self-forgiveness, and small offenses. Just learn to forgive, learn to let go, learn to ease that pain as quickly as possible, because if not, it's going to be kind of toxic and just eating that love part of your heart away bit by bit until there's nothing left. You just look at your spouse one day, you feel like, I don't feel anything for you anymore. We don't want to get there. We want that love to keep increasing by the grace of God. So learn to forgive yourself as well. The role of apologies. There's a role. It's not like I'm just coming here to say just forgive and all of that. There's a role, especially when you guys get married at a very young age, maybe in your 20s, and now you're in your 40s, and maybe some issues has happened, you haven't really forgiven, you're just living through it, suppressing it and all of that. There's a role, the role of apologies. There's a role it plays, or many roles it actually plays. And I'll tell you, sincere apologies, I think I mentioned briefly earlier. Sincere apologies, a genuine apology from the spouse who caused the hurt, can greatly aid the forgiveness process. Remember, I touched on that briefly. If you're just joining in, you're welcome to Insight. Maru Matu, I see you. We're talking about forgiveness in marriage. So sincere apologies, a genuine apology from your spouse will let you know that, kind of aid the process of forgiveness for you. Like I said, imagine the spouse sobbing, crying like a baby. You've never seen your spouse like this before. I mean, that's enough for you to know that they're really sincere in their apologies. So even right there and then you can forgive, you can still kind of hold on to them, coddle them, and pat them on the back or some sort of affirmation to let them know that, you know what, I'm angry right now, but I'm still going to be there for you. It shows remorse and willingness to make amends. You can see that in them, so there's no point kind of punishing them further. Onoye, again, thanks for joining. It's good to have you here. So again, taking responsibility. Sometimes, like I mentioned, infidelity, the norm is the spouse who has gone to, commit adultery or whatever will blame the spouse in the house because you're not giving me this, I've gone out to get it. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Taking responsibilities for your action. The offending spouse should take full responsibility for their actions without making excuses. Because the moment you come and say, okay, I'm sorry, but you made me do it. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Please remove that thing from your vocabulary if you're trying to apologize for whatever. Never blame your spouse for what you have done. Two wrong does not make a right. That means you're telling your spouse that when next you say no to me, I should also go out and do the same thing. No, that's not it. Zizo, you're welcome. Sikiru Aziz, I see you. Thanks for joining. Please let's share the live to our friends as we tap on our screen. So please take responsibility for your actions. Don't blame your spouse for whatever, because they equally have a right to go and do the same. How would you feel? And we don't want to be throwing things at each other. You do this, I do that. No, it's not going to promote that bond we're talking about. It's not going to promote that connection between you and your spouse. House of Deems, I see you. Okay, so be sincere. Take responsibilities for your actions, for your mistakes. Don't make excuses. Don't try to manipulate your spouse into forgiving you, because you're just going to make things worse. And they're trying to ease off the hurt they're feeling, and now you're saying to them it's their fault. No, please, that will not promote oneness at all. Then another thing I'll mention quickly is making amends. Okay, how are you making amends for what you have done? How are you making amends? Actions to rectify the wrong and prevent it from reoccurring can help rebuild trust. If you're the type that your spouse, you just lavished all your savings or something, and it's too late to get the money back, and now over time again you start to save again, don't go near it. Don't even think about it. Do not even think about it. Otherwise, if the penny goes missing from that savings, your spouse will not just have it. It's like you're killing them the second time again. The same thing. So please, you have to learn to be disciplined. Be disciplined so that you don't keep repeating the same mistakes, knowing that your spouse will forgive you. Oh, they don't have a choice but to forgive. No, there's no point keep hurting your spouse. It's not a good thing, because you might just do it one more time and that'll be the end of that relationship. And we don't want that, do we? No, we don't. So rectify the wrong, prevent it from happening again, so you can rebuild their trust, that trust again. Okay? Another thing I'm going to mention again is the benefits of forgiveness. There are benefits to it. So many, but I'll just mention about maybe 4 of them, for the sake of time, because I want us to come in and talk more about these things. I want to learn from you. Like I say, all this talk is just to put things in perspective, really. I cannot cover everything, and as you know, and that's why I'm here to learn from you as well. We learn from one another so we can enjoy our marriages. So the benefits of forgiveness is to improve your communication with one another, because you have to hear them out. What are they saying? Sometimes you can't make a sense of it, but you still have to communicate with one another Talk so thank you for joining. So improve communication. Couples who practice forgiveness tend to have better communication as they feel safe to express themselves without fear of prolonged conflict. Your spouse really want to talk about it, but you're not just having it. One day, 1 week, 1 month, 6 months, and it's still like you're not having it. Of course, it's put a strain in your relationship. Things are not going smoothly. You're just patching it so that maybe your friends or children or whoever may not see what is going on. You can only patch that for so long. It's going to come out in the open. Cherry, you're welcome. So in order to avoid things prolonging and all of that, learn to talk about it. You might have to go outside of the home, especially when you have children, because they might just be passing the hallway and hearing you, and it might not really be a good sight. Sometimes you might have to look for another environment to do this talk in depth. Don't hide anything away. Don't suppress anything. Don't shy away from anything. Just face it head on. It's happened. It's happened. Where do we go from here? How can we make things better again? Gracie, thanks for joining. Okay, another reason why forgiveness is beneficial is for greater intimacy. Sometimes these things will bring couples together. Maybe if it's the first time offense and it's been years you've been married and this is the first time your spouse is going to offend you this much, you will feel this thing, empathy, sympathy, and all of that, holding them, just to make them feel okay. And that can bring about even greater intimacy. Letting go of the past hurts allow for deeper emotional and physical intimacy. It's very crucial. And again, another benefit is stress reduction. Like I said, sometimes your spouse hurt you, they did something, you're in shock, and because you're not processing it, you want to go lie down, your heart is beating faster like you're the one that has offended, and you're thinking in your head, no, this can't be right, I've not heard right, they didn't do this, no, this can't be. And you're pondering, how is that possible, how have they done this? You're thinking, pondering, and before you know, it's 4 a.m. Stress. And then of course you probably manage to get 1 hour sleep, and then you go off to work even without talking to your spouse, because you're just you're in the angry world right now and all that. And you get to work, you forgot, oh, I needed to have signed that, you forget that, and it start affecting your work or it start affecting your business. You don't want that to happen. It's not something you shy away from. So in order to reduce that stress, holding on to anger and resentment can increase stress levels. So forgiveness leads to a more peaceful and harmonious relationship. Sometimes some people, they carry on for days and days. Days run into weeks. Weeks run into months. And even months can run into years when they can't handle the talk, and it strains every aspect of that relationship. And if care's not taken, at some point they'll just be like roommates. That's if they're not even sleeping in separate rooms. All these things, if we don't attend to it, it kind of festers, lingers on, and becomes something bigger. A time will come when you allow that to go into years, and then people are asking, what is the cause of this? You can't even remember. You cannot. They offended you. What did they do? You cannot even remember. Please let it not go for that long, because it's too stressful. It's too stressful. Forgiveness will lead to more peaceful and harmonious relationship. Everybody wants a peaceful relationship. Everybody wants an harmonious relationship. So please, let's try to work towards it. It's hard. It's difficult. I know that. But we can encourage ourselves to do better, because this is your better whole. You're going to spend the rest of your life with them, and offenses will keep coming. It's never going to stop. It might stop for a while, and you don't know what your spouse might do again, or what you yourself might do that will warrant forgiveness. So let's be at peace with one another as best as possible. So the last thing I'm going to mention before I throw the talk open for others to come and share with us is enhanced well-being. Okay, forgiveness contributes to overall mental and physical health, reduces anxiety, it reduces depression, and even physical ailments. Some people, because the shock was too much, they don't want to process Oh my God, they're feeling pains in their heart and they're feeling pains, and no amount of medication, I'm not sure, would help that. Other than you processing these things, talk about it, because you've just put this heavy thing on your heart and your heart can barely hold it. Your heart can barely hold on to it. So let's be mindful. For our mental well being, our overall well being, we need to learn to forgive, because forgiveness, it contributes to our mental and physical well-being. It will reduce anxiety. You find out that the moment you forgive truly, you let go, you will feel somewhat lighter, and then you will sleep like a baby that night you decide to let go, and it will not cause any chest pain or headaches uncontrollably, feeling all this pain for no reason, from out of nowhere, because of what you've heard from your spouse. Afia, I see you, thanks for joining. So it's hard, it's painful, like I said, but it can lead to other negative things you really do not bargain for. Some people, it could be high blood pressure. Some people, it could be depression, like I said. Some people, it could be exhaustion, or some could be lack of sleep, insomnia might set in just because you're not processing it well. So please, let's look after one another. Let's learn to forgive. Forgive yourself, forgive your spouse, so that you can still live in harmony. So, in conclusion, forgiveness is not always easy, like I said, but it is essential for a healthy and lasting marriage. Offenses will come. The moment you guys, as long as you don't stop living with each other, you're going to live with one another. Offenses will come. Big, small, mighty, shocking, unbelievable mistakes, what have you, would keep happening. That's why we're not perfect. And that's why we need to learn to forgive, okay? So we can have a lasting marriage. It requires effort, it requires empathy, and willingness to move past that hurt. It requires that. Jehovah, I see you. By practicing forgiveness, couple can heal from wounds, strengthen their bond, and create a loving and resilient relationship, partnership. So let us strive to incorporate forgiveness into our marriages, fostering an environment of love, of trust, and of mutual respect. So, guys, thank you so much for your attention. And my prayer is that may our relationships be blessed with understanding, with compassion, and with forgiveness. That's the end of my talk today, and I want to believe we've learned one or two things. So, as usual, I have questions before I go into my puzzle for today. Forgiveness in marriage. So, why do we find it hard to forget even after we have forgiven? Why do we find it hard sometimes to forget even after we have forgiven? And the second question I would ask is there anything, I think I asked this maybe a couple of weeks ago or so, is there anything in your marriage you cannot forgive? I'm not talking about domestic violence, like I said, or domestic abuse, but is there anything you cannot forgive in your marriage? Guys, I want to hear from you. Please come on inside box today.
Inside.
Thank you. Thank you. Uchena, welcome.
Bringing hope and make you feel alright.
Thank you, guys.
Rainbow, the promise, the future, and life.
So let's send invite if you have one or two things you want to share with us about this topic, forgiveness in marriage. Why do we find it hard to forget even after we have forgiven? Why do we find it hard to? And then, is there anything in your marriage you cannot forgive? And I'm not talking about DVs or DAs. I want to hear from you. Somebody sent in an invite. Let's see. Guys, please send an invite. Let's hear your opinion today. What's your take on that? Let's see who is there. How are you today, my dear brother?
I'm okay, Fumi. Good evening.
Good evening. I hope you're good.
Sure, sure, sure. And you?
I'm fine. We're managing. We thank God.
Everyone is doing the same.
Yeah.
Everyone is trying to cope.
I know such is life, isn't it? We have to keep
Hmm.
hope alive and keep
Yep.
trying our best every single day. So, Vito, you're welcome. So, I don't know, Onoye, have you heard or do you want to attempt? Okay, no, it's not yet time for my puzzle. So, I'll bring that just in about 5-10 minutes. So, I don't know much of the talk that you have heard today. I don't know if you have something you want to share or you want to answer the questions or whatever you want to say, please feel free.
Okay. They say why is it hard for us to forget
Oh,
after we
no.
forgive?
Yeah. Why do we find it hard to forget even after we have forgiven?
There's no way we can forget. We can always forgive,
Mm,
but forget is not possible. We can't you can't forget a, so let me say let me use one word now. Let's say the reason why we don't forget is that because of what has happened has actually left us an imprint. Okay,
mm,
so because of that imprint, that thing has left. So there's no way you're gonna forget, even if you forgive,
mhm. Okay.
because it's actually the part of our journey of our life. So there's no way you're gonna forget those important part of your life that actually left an imprint in you. You can't forget those kind of things. So that's why. And then, which word will I say? Just like what I say is our history try to shape our future. Yeah. So whatever that
Mm,
happened to our past, it tends to shape our future, and then we try
okay.
to make some kind of a decision for
Yeah.
that thing not to reoccur again. Like people says,
Mm,
once beaten, twice shy,
right.
and then maybe affliction should not repeat himself again.
Mm.
So whosoever did not take cautions and about his environment and the circumstances, affliction would always repeat himself for such a person.
That's true.
And then you keep on saying, forgive, 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 forgive. So I
Mm,
think people who tend to just look forgive, like things forgive is easy because of I think they don't really put attention in the environment.
mm.
So that is why you think forgiveness is easy. It's not. It's very hard to forgive.
It is. It's
But
really
for
hard.
me, I think the best forgiveness is to walk away. That's the best forgiveness because
Mm,
sometimes if you look at the kind of if you look at the degree of the offense, not just a light offense.
thank
If
you, Ma.
somebody insults your father or your mother, you can walk away. Yeah, you can easily forget. If your age mate insulted your father, you can actually walk away. If your colleagues insulted your father, you can actually walk away.
Mm.
But if there is a certain kind of a family member, yeah, a
Mm-hmm.
certain kind of a family member insulted your father or your mother, let's say your uncle's son insulted your father
Mm.
in a family meeting, it's gonna be difficult. So this is family now. It's gonna be
Mm.
difficult, yeah. And then let's say your wife family member insulted your father or your mother in a family meeting like that. You see, such gravity of that insult and offense is hard to let go.
Mm.
Yeah, because that is too much.
Mm.
So, and then the reason why I say the best forgiveness is to walk away. Yeah,
But we're talking about a marriage relationship. So when you say walk away, are you saying walk away from that marriage or
that's
walk
that,
away
that
from that scenario?
that's how I'm going now. I'm dragging. You see, I first of all put family. So you see, I'm still in the circle of
Okay,
the family.
building it. All right,
Yeah,
thank
I'm in the
you.
circle of the
Thank you.
family.
Hmm.
So now
Interesting.
this is the situation that happened. I think I get to watch the clip today on Facebook where this husband, according to the story, they said this couple, they started life from the scratch
Hmm.
between the thick and thin. There was nothing happening, and then they start and then they build up things.
Yeah.
Life is not good, and then the woman they discovered that the man is not cheating on her,
Hmm.
and then the husband tried to apologize to cause a family meeting,
Hmm.
and then they say the man received all kind of insult in the family meeting, but the man still do apologize for his mistake. Just like he said, take responsibility. Don't say is my partner that caused me to do this. So because of it cost me, now this not the effect. Eh. So the man still take the full responsibility and still apologize.
Mm-hmm.
But the woman did not take it. So
Wow.
they say the man was sleeping. According to investigate, they say the man was sleeping, and this wife take a pistol, the pistol that they used to pound,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
smash this man
my
till
goodness.
the man give up. Okay, till the man back. Now this is where they say the best forgiveness is to walk away. Now let me give you a scenario that happens in the Bible, just like a Saul and David. You see, when David look at the degree, yeah, that
Yeah.
that Saul really wanted to take him off the surface of the earth, three different occasions, and for once that the man has opportunity, he did not do anything, because if he do anything, he have taken the laws into his own hand. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just like what these humans have done now, for because of our inability to forgive and to
Mm.
walk away,
Mm.
he's not took the laws into our hands. You
Wow.
see? So David doesn't want to take the laws into his hands. That's why he walked away from Saul. After Saul apologized, I'm sorry, come back to the palace, the man said, I'm fine. I've forgiven you, but I just have to walk away. And he
Mm.
walked away. Now imagine if this woman just decided to walk away from this man because of her inability to forgive and forget. The
Mm-hmm.
best thing is to just walk away.
Wow. Yeah.
But she refused to walk away and then took the man out of the surface of the earth. So I only
Wow.
encourage those who could not forgive, just walk away.
I
Walk
think it's
away.
safest.
Walk away. So it's because of the imprint, yeah, the scar. There are some offenses that will leave scar on you, real scar. So
Mm.
unless if you and then you use the word empathy, before you can actually have the full meaning of empathy or understand the full meaning, you must go through that circumstances. If you did not go through it, there's no way you're going to have the empathy for who is going through it.
Yeah. That's true.
So
Yeah.
forgiveness, you can be forgive, but to forget, no. It's a strong thing.
Hard.
Yeah, that's my submission for now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that submission. Really, I get where you started building up, the story from till this point. Very good analogy. Thank you so much for that. So, is there anything? I don't know if you're in a marriage relationship, but even if not, I'm sure you can imagine stuff. So, is there anything in your marriage, whether you're in it or not, that you cannot forgive? I'm not talking about domestic violence now or domestic abuse, just normal healthy husband and wife
Okay,
relationship.
yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, I've experienced one.
Okay.
You can forgive, but like I said, you always leave an imprint. So and then you still be looking at the person. You still have to like protect yourself. You will not get loose anymore. Like before I met my woman, uh, and then she said to me that she said to her father
See,
that
I
she,
see.
she was she was pregnant, and then the father says, "Oh, I did not send you to abroad to go and get pregnant with any guy. After all, this guy you get pregnant with, this tribe, they don't like us. We don't relate to these people tribe." And then she told me everything. Yeah, I was like, this kind of like, by the time you and this person now get to, so for me, I don't really know so I'm trying to think why I don't know if you get me. Now,
Yeah.
if you say you have problem with the tribe, you don't have problem with that particular individual because you have not even seen the individual.
She's not the tribe, is she? The whole tribe.
Exactly. You say you have problem with the tribe. Now, in the tribe, we have people individual inside the tribe. So you have not made this individual. So if you have problem with the tribe, why not just at least keep it to yourself? Give an opportunity to see this individual. Yeah?
Yeah.
Give an opportunity to see this individual before you just vent your anger
On the
for
spouse.
who you haven't seen. So when I received such a word, I started thinking, what has actually the tribe actually done to you that makes you like acting this bitter?
Miss Shana.
Now then at the end of the day now, we end up continuing this relationship. Now that imprint will be there for so many people's mind will be looking, okay. So are you trying to say, okay, now are you not accepting me as your in-law in terms of pity? Because the first statement, you don't really like this tribe. So
Yeah.
now this person are coming out to take your daughter hands of marriage. Like, okay, now he will feel that, okay, he's giving me his daughter in that aspect of pity mindset. So that imprint will not go out of the mind of that person. So even though the person will continue with his relationship, he will still be looking at you with one bombastic side eye.
Yeah.
He'll be looking at you. So the person will not be free with you, but he will just be there based on he believe that, okay, after all, I'm just marrying your daughter. Is your daughter and her is going to continue our future, not you, the father, not you, the mother. So I tend to ignore them most of the time. So, and even if the feeling want to comes in, I will also try to kill it a little bit, but I just sometimes you just have to keep your boundary. Once things like this happen, you just have to keep your boundary. Not everything you want to talk with them anymore because of the first foundation that they are laying.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amaye. Thank you so much for that submission. Disciple Nation, I'm going to come to you next, Bob. Before I do, it's 6 past 8. So I'm going to tell us the puzzle so we can start reflecting on that. If you get it, you get the donut and 2 ice cream to relax for the evening. Otherwise, I would have to tell you the answer today because I'm not taking it away today. Last week, nobody got it. So the puzzle today is, let me see again. Why wasn't Jesus allowed at any of Jerusalem jewelry shops? Why wasn't Jesus allowed at any of Jerusalem jewelry shops? There's a reason. If you know the reason, come up into the box and tell us, and you will be the winner for today. Otherwise, I would eat my donut and tell you the answer. So again, why wasn't Jesus allowed at any of the Jerusalem jewelry shop? There's a reason why. If you know it, come and tell us. So Disciple Nation, how are you today? Good evening. I want to believe it's evening where you are, or good day. How are
Oh,
you?
good evening.
Good evening. How has your week been?
Oh, thank God, that's been good. And yours?
Hallelujah. We thank God. We thank God all the same. Thank you so much for joining me here on Inside. So I don't know what your take is. We're talking about forgiveness in marriage. I don't know if you have an angle to it or you want to share anything at all with us. I'm sure we will learn from you as well. Thank you.
Um, oh, forgiveness only in marriage or just
Yeah,
forgiveness?
because on Thursdays we talk about marriages, relationships, and marriages, really, and that's really our focus. So I'm talking about forgiveness in marriage because I mean we're supposed to live together till death do us part, but there's no way we will not offend one another. So we're talking about that forgiveness, how we can forgive and move on, or if you're not forgiving, how are you living in that relationship? So even if you're not in a marriage relationship, I'm sure you will picture it. Your parents probably were married. How do they forgive one another? You can always draw from other people or could be your friends. So any angle at all.
Hmm. The Bible says we should forgive one another. I think you can forgive. You forgive. Depends. There are people that cannot really forgive.
Mm,
Yeah, there are people. It's hard for them to forgive. But I think in any situation, you forgive people. As our brother said, if you can't forgive, just walk away. Even when you forgive, though, like me, even when I forgive you,
yeah,
I will still give you distance. But in marriage, you can't just forgive and walk away. You can't leave your
exactly. So it's hard.
yeah.
So how do
So,
we go about it? Yeah.
so when you forgive, you this time you have to be careful, and depends on relationship though. It just depends on the person that you married. If you marry a child that is grown up,
Let me pause you 1 second, disciple. Thank you so much. J-Law, you got this one. I bet you've gone to do your assignment. He's gotten my puzzle. Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, Sir J-Law, thank you. I said, why was Jesus not allowed at any of Jerusalem's jewelry shop? Sir J-Law said, because they were afraid Jesus would break every chain and set everyone. In fact, that first bit is the answer. Because they were afraid Jesus would break every chain. That was why he was not allowed at the shops in Jerusalem. So, thank you so much. You can carry on, Disciple Nation. Thank you so much.
Um, yeah, I believe in marriage, you just forgive and try to forget, and don't expect too much. As I've said before, depends on the person. If you know the person is a child that is grown up, no one will say child that is can be a man or a woman. They might be big or beautiful, but they don't have that sense. They keep doing the same thing or keep saying that thing that annoys you, and later they come and say they are sorry. You don't expect them to change, so you
That
just
means
have to,
they're not remorseful at all.
yeah. So you just have to take it and then try to live with them like that, because you trying to change them might break you, and that's why many people are depressed in marriage. That's why people are saying that marriage is not working, because the person keep doing the thing over and over again, say that he's sorry. Sometimes you have to accept the person, expect don't expect anything, try to pray for them and see if they will change, but it's good to forgive, because when you forgive people, apart from marriage, you see that you that is free, you can live in peace. Because if you don't forgive people, people will still hurt you. Sometimes I was telling somebody last time, I said the person was complaining to me what they did to her.
Mm.
Then later, and I said that, but sometimes you might also be the problem. You might
Yes.
not know, you might hurt them too, because all these
Mm.
things might be that is from their hurt too that they are, because she was just complaining. Sometimes we hurt people by the way we laugh. Sometimes when somebody is talking to me, might be serious. First, I will be laughing. It hurts some people, and they might keep quiet the other day. Maybe next time they want to deal with me, I might not remember what I did.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So the girl said, yeah, it's true. But we also, what triggers it? Why is that person behaving like that? We have to sit down to reflect and see if it is us, so that the people can change. We have to help others
Mm-hmm.
and not just to complain and say, oh, they did this. Try to help them, see if it is you. You
Mm.
see that things will be better, or if they are not accepting you, as that brother said,
Thank you so much.
continue to be good. If you are good to people, I believe people will change. If they find out that, because people have that bad depression, there are people that always say, oh, when I met that person, this person is like this, so they just treat you like that.
Mm.
Yeah,
That's
like
true.
according to that brother, yeah. So you try to be good, so that you can change their whatever they have towards you, and
Mm.
try to ask God to help you to forgive others, and to change your spouse if they are doing things that is hurting you, so
Hey,
that you be able to forgive them.
but the thing is, in terms of experience, disciple nation, the truth is you can't really change your spouse. You
Mm,
can pray to God to help change because it says the heart of kings are in his hands. You can
mm,
pray to God who is their manufacturer. You
yeah.
go back to the manufacturer of that person and pray because that's what we're meant to do, pray for one another. Like we're saying, this forgiveness matter is not an easy thing. Some people need extra grace to forgive, so we cannot shy away from that. So I really take that, which you have said, we can pray for them, but of our own power, I don't think we can change our
No.
spouse. No, because you just be frustrated, really. So, in order to live in peace with them, please don't even attempt or pray to God to touch their heart to change. Maybe that way will be quicker and better, really. Thank you so much for that submission. Thank you. Law. At least I know you're not in a car now and you're not on the way home or to work. Sir J Law, how are you today? And thank you so much for getting the puzzle.
Yeah, thank you so much. I just hope my network is good.
Yeah,
I
it's okay.
just, my office is just around here. I just
Oh,
came out to have dinner.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not far from my office, just having dinner somewhere.
Okay. I hope it's a
Yeah,
good one. You're not even asking me to come and
yeah.
eat dinner with you.
Greetings, everyone. Please do come join me. Let's have dinner together.
All right, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for the invite.
yeah, you're
So,
welcome.
Sir J Law, we're talking about forgiveness in marriage. I don't know if you want me to ask the questions again or from what perspective you want to look at it. Doesn't matter really.
I don't know. If you have questions you want to ask, fine. I'm okay. I'm fine.
Yeah. Okay. So two questions, and then you can add yours to it. Why do we find it hard to forget even after we have forgiven? Okay. And secondly, is there
Okay.
anything, I think I asked this not too long ago, is there anything in your marriage you cannot forgive? And I'm not talking about domestic violence or domestic abuse. Is there anything you cannot forgive your spouse for in your marriage? Kente, thanks for joining.
Okay. So why do we find it difficult to forget? That's it, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, because we are humans. We are humans, and humans don't forget. Human beings forgive, they don't forget.
Mm,
And the only thing is that when we remember, just like Joseph, when his brother sold him into slavery, and
mm,
ultimately, all the processes he went through before he became a prime minister and all that.
yeah.
Sometimes God will take you through some stuff because of what the things that he wants to do through you. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? And
Yeah.
the many times, a lot of us don't see the big picture. We just see the stress and all that. For someone like me, that I went through a lot growing up as a child. I went through quite a lot. I was raised in a destructive environment. I was born out of wedlock. I
Okay.
never knew who my dad was. So, and all those things, the Lord took me through because of the things that He's doing through me right now. I don't have to be a pastor or a preacher or a teacher or whatever. But when you come within my scope, I have a way of inspiring people. I have a way of motivating people. I have a way of pushing people into their purpose. My network is really bad. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear. Yes, we can.
Yeah. So people, yes, and is human beings generally. When you
Mm-hmm.
do something, when you offend people, when you hurt them, when Joseph saw his brothers, when he saw them, he remembered what they did. And they were ashamed. They felt terrible. But he said to them, "Oh, no, no, don't worry. You meant it for evil, but the Lord meant it for good."
Oh,
He remembered,
hallelujah.
but he
Yeah.
was not bitter. He remembered, he wasn't angry. Yeah, yeah. So you will remember, but if you have evolved spiritually, if you
Mm-hmm.
have evolved beyond and above that, the animalistic and normal revengeful, propensity that the natural man has, you will not be angry. Because the Bible says the love of God is shed abroad in our hearts by the Holy Spirit. That is
Amen.
the love. So when you meet people like that, Paul said, let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus. You don't try to give them a piece of your mind. You give them a piece of Jesus's mind, because that is the level you are at right now. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So we remember, like all the people that did stuff to me. Look, I remember, but when I remember, I don't get angry. I'm happy. I am excited because they made me the man that I am today. I'm patient, I'm gentle, I'm prayerful. They push me to God. And that is the most important thing to me. That I can, I know God has a certain level where I don't need no preacher to tell me. I've had encounters, because during those times there were moments where I had to press, I had to pray, I had to study, I had to believe God for everything. And then as I was praying, my character, my temperament, the transformation was, He was taking me through, the crucible. So I'm a different person today because of those things. You understand? But for a natural man now, a man that doesn't know God, a man that has not, that has not had an encounter with the Word, with the Spirit of God, now he wants to revenge. Now he doesn't want to forgive. And you know what unforgiveness does? One psychologist said that unforgiveness is like when you take poison and you expect it to unalive the other person.
Yeah.
You understand? You're damaging yourself. You're destroying your body, because look, as the Bible says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So is his health. It will impact your health. It will impact your cognitive abilities. It will impact. It damages the body chemical.
Yeah.
Science has proven it. Medical science has proven it. A lot of people are psychosomatic. When you're thinking, makes your body sick. Many times. So it's very, 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 it's terrible. But for people who are natural, like I said, you have to evolve and grow and get to know God and know that, look, people find it difficult to forgive because it's in their memory bank, and because they don't really know God and the love of God. They have not exposed themselves to the supernatural. Sometimes you need a supernatural touch of God to forgive some people, because some people will hurt you so bad. It's so strong. That is why, that's why the love of God has to be shared abroad in your heart by the Holy Ghost. Sometimes you have to pray for the grace of Father. I know that these guys hurt me so terribly. They did me wrong. I was innocent. I was innocent. I was just about my business. They lied against me, maligned me, and made, people hurt you so terribly. And, but when you're truly born again, when you're not just mouthing or talking, when you're living it, you're walking within the ambits and within the parameters of God's word. When you expose yourself to the supernatural, God will touch you in a certain way where when you remember, you will not be angry. How do you know that you've forgiven someone? When you remember and you don't get angry, then you know that you've forgiven. But when you still remember and you're bitter, you want to revert, you've not forgiven. You've not forgiven. So God has to change the memory. Joseph remembered, but he forgave, and you could see that he was trying to empower them, was giving them gifts. How is my father? How is everyone? He was concerned about their welfare and all that. That's how you know. You understand? So some of those people that did the things that they did, look, I talked to them, and there was a time my big sister called me and was like, Jay, I said, yeah. He said, they're asking. They said, what happened to you that you're so different? You're so peaceful. You talk to everybody. My sister was just telling me about the things they were saying. These same people that offended me and look, I was brutalized. I'm telling you, I was abused. We talk about I was so bad. Look, I don't live it. I don't look it. I don't look it. So, and God has given me the sagacity of that experience to help people. If you check my profile, I say I'm a local boy with a global vision. Number one, to inspire. Number two, to impact. Number three, to impart this generation, because of the things I went through. So that is my purpose. That's why I'm here. You understand? So, and I'm excited about it. I don't pray that anybody should go through that. But if that is the way, if by divine design, that is how God wants, that is the path that He wants you to go through, man, you can't escape it. He will give you your mess. Out of your mess, you've heard it. Paula White will say, my mess has become my message. My test has become my testimony. So that is it. That is it. So people don't forgive. People find it difficult to forgive because they are humans and they are still living in the humanity. They have not switched from the natural to the supernatural. They don't know God. They don't know the love of God. That is it fundamentally. But for some of us, we have moved beyond and above. We have moved beyond and above pedestrian thinking. Then the second question is what? What's the second
No,
question?
the second one is there anything your
So
spouse
what's the
can?
second question now?
Yeah, the second question is there
What's the second?
anything your
What's the
spouse?
second question? My network
Okay,
is bad. Can you hear me?
is repeating. What is that thing that your spouse will do that you cannot forgive?
Oh, my network is so bad. I can't hear nothing.
Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Oh boy, my network is bad. I don't know. Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, I said, what is that thing that your spouse will do to you that you cannot forgive them? And I'm not talking about domestic violence or abuse now.
I think if you look at the scripture on forgiveness fundamentally, in the Old Testament majorly, and in the New Testament,
Mm-hmm. Welcome, Eddie. Oh, I think it's frozen. Sir Jay, I don't know if you're still there. If you can hear me, you might have to come off and come back in. I think it's frozen. Let's see.
sorry, can you hear
Are
me?
you there?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
We can now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So fundamentally, it was about adultery, 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 cheating. That was fundamentally, in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, when Jesus was talking about, and then Jesus said, in the beginning, it was not so. In the beginning. So Jesus was telling them, look, God's idea is that when you get married, you stay married for the rest of your life from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
That was the beginning. But because of the hardness of your heart, because you won't forgive, then you can put her out except on the grounds of adultery. But even at that, it was not so.
Mm-hmm.
For the Lord hates divorce.
Mm-hmm.
It's there in the scripture. He hates it. He doesn't like it. You understand? So for me, I don't pray for on that ground generally, in the courts and in the church and all that. People will say, okay, you can let her go. I think that's for me. That's for me. Any other thing I can walk around that, because
Okay.
I don't think I would never want to cheat on my spouse, and I don't think she should. I don't know what will make me, want to, do that by the grace of God. So if she does that, and I just feel like, well, whoever she's doing that with, that's the person that she loves. Because when a woman's mind is occupied with the man that she loves, she doesn't have time for nobody else. You're asking, I'm telling you, when a woman's mind is occupied with the man that she loves, she's got no time. You're talking to her, you're wasting your time. You're trying to give her gifts, you're wasting your. When a woman's mind, women love hard and deep. You're talking is like you're speaking Greek. They don't care. They don't want to know. I have four sisters. When they started falling in love, I was with them. I know. They don't send you in your car, your Lamborghini. A real woman, she doesn't care. Yeah. So if my wife, God forbid, my spouse, God forbid, gets into that realm where she's playing with some other dude and all that, and I just know that she's not meant. It was never meant to be on the grounds of adultery, cheating. Then, but apart from that, I can walk around any other thing. I'm not looking for a perfect person. I'm not perfect. I'm a work in progress. You understand? Technically speaking, nobody has it all together. We are all trying to get better. So that is it. Thank you, ma'am. God bless you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you. Very, very amazing contribution. Thank you so much for that. And I concur, really. Mary, I'm just going to skip you for a minute because I want to hear from other new people in the box. Teacher John, I think I can only see Teacher Joe on my screen, but I think it's John. If I'm wrong, apologies for that.
It's all right.
How are
It's all
you
right.
today, sir?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You're welcome to this side.
My handle is Teacher Johnny King.
Okay,
And by
Johnny.
the way, hello, Mrs. Williams. It's been a while. I've seen you. Greetings to
Yes,
everybody in the
Mrs.
house.
Williams, thank you for joining.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma.
Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I've missed you a lot.
So
Anyway,
you're here to
I
next
heard your
week.
two questions. I heard your two questions,
Okay.
and I I I love the submission of Sir J Law. Very insightful, and I like the fact that he's rooted in God's word. Um, the first question is that why is it? How come people don't forget? And of course, I put a comment out and I said, as long as we have cognitive ability, um, chances are that we can't forget what someone's done wrong.
Mm.
And yeah, we can forgive, but you have to have amnesia. You have to have some form of amnesia. or
Funny. Praise
or
my
you
Lord.
have what we call like maybe like a temporary. Some people have long-term memory but still have short-term memory, short-term memory. So the one that's been back before, they forgot, and then maybe they can
Okay,
still. So
wow.
it just depends, because it's all about how people process mentally.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the previous speaker said, we're human beings, and there's a lot that affects us, and what we don't realize is where the mind goes, the body follows.
Mm-hmm.
So if your mind is sick, you find out that you actually get bodily sick, you know.
Mm. That's
And
cool.
if your mind is healthy, you tend to have a very healthy body.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why sometimes you have a lot of people who go through psychological, positive mental reorientation, and they find out that that even works for them. For example, I'm a very, very strong optimist, and
Okay.
in my optimism, I tend to realize that I'm a very healthy person, you
Right.
see. So, and I notice that people who are very pessimistic, if you
Mm.
check them out, they always
It's
complain,
too
oh,
long.
I have this headache, oh, I feel so down, I'm depressed. If all they need to do is just switch their paradigm,
Mm.
and they tend to, feel better. So, except, just like I had said, except you have some kind of forgetful measures in your brain or your mind, something just erases the memory. I've had experiences in, in my
Ajay,
relationship.
thank
I've
you.
been I've been married before. I was married for 20 years
Oh, wow.
previously, and I got a divorce in 2019. And so for the first 10 years in my relationship, my ex got reconnected with some previous boyfriend that she had had. And it wasn't something that I did not know about. I knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
But, sometimes I tend to think, was I being so liberal to have allowed a reconnection with an ex? But I wasn't that kind of doting husband that feels,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you cannot be friends with somebody you've known in the past, as long as you respect, what we share. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, I uncovered some kind of cyber sexual relationship that was go- I uncovered some kind of cyber sexual relationship that was going on. The funny thing was I could have forgiven that, but the problem was that she was never sorry. She never apologized for it. She was never, so it 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 ate me up as a cancer for the next 10 years. So
Wow.
as much as I was trying to move past it, I would have forgiven, and but she
Thank
was
you, Sabrina.
always using the situation to throw in my face, or
Mm.
sometimes like I'm not as good as the
Mm.
person that way. And 10 years after, I tried and I tried and tried and tried, and then I was acting, but what I'm saying is what
Teacher John
time
King,
my
I think the connection is fluctuating.
could not handle.
Can you hear me?
Oh, okay, hold on. Can you hear me now? I can hear
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, okay, it's back on.
Is it okay now? Is it
Yeah,
okay
it's
now?
okay now.
Okay, sorry
Yeah,
about that. So I
that's
was
okay.
saying
It's
that
all right.
I was saying that you know I tried to handle that whole process, but unfortunately, it told on my mental health, and it
Mm,
ate into my how I felt about that relationship. I stayed 10
mm,
years more, hoping that things would work out better.
okay.
But even 10 years in, there was no apology. There was no, so if you're not
Mm,
sorry for something you've done and you think, okay, because we should forgive, forgiveness, what people don't realize about forgiveness is I
mm,
can forgive you, but I don't have to remain your friend. You
that's
see,
true.
I can
Yeah.
forgive you, but I don't have to remain your friend. But it got to that point where we never saw eye to eye on things
Sorry,
anymore.
Teacher John, to cut
Teacher
you
John.
My
short.
heart.
I think
Yeah, sorry, can you
you're
increase
too
the
low.
volume? If you can increase your volume, I think maybe the earpiece is kind of interfering.
My volume is actually increased all. Okay. How is it now? Is it better
Yeah,
now?
yeah, it's better now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Is it
better
is
now.
is it better now?
Yes,
All right.
Yeah, it's better now.
So
Thank
sorry
you.
about that.
it's all right. Thank
So
you.
basically, I was saying that you can forgive somebody, but you
Mm,
don't necessarily have to remain friends with that person. You see, so forgiveness doesn't say, okay, because I've forgiven, I can still be with you, or I can still be your friend. I can
mm,
forgive you, but we can sever, the relationship. So yeah, what is it that I cannot forgive? I can forgive everything. I can forgive everything, but like I said, the fact that I can forgive everything does not mean for example, if I have a friend that maybe scammed me, say he scammed me, and then he comes and beg for forgiveness, I can forgive him, you know, but he would never get help from me again. That's
Oh,
that's just me. I would
okay.
not give him that. Because if he comes and says for me to borrow him money again, I would remember his past. The fact is not that I have not forgiven him. I did, but the trust is damaged. Forgiveness and trust are two separate entities.
Yeah, yeah,
Two
yeah.
separate entities.
Oh, yes,
Forgiveness is
yes.
one, trust is another. You know, so it's high time people stop. Being. Sometimes we can get over spiritual, and we don't think in
Sentiment,
clear perspective.
the
You
sentiment in
know,
the relationship.
yes, we have that sentimental thinking, and we're not thinking clearly. Our perspectives are not right. So that is just what it is. And forgiveness is a good is an interesting thing. Like the Lord's prayer said, as forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. In other words, there is no way we can merit forgiveness if we have the element of forgiveness in us. We can forgive, we can let go, but definitely like I said earlier, if you can remember anything, someone tells you 1 plus 1, you can say 2. If someone slaps me right now, I will remember that person slapped me, right?
Forever, you
But
will.
if I don't retaliate, if I don't retaliate, I would always remember he slapped me or she slapped me. I can forgive you, but I would steer clear of you. So that so that it's a very tricky situation,
Very.
forgiveness, but it's a necessary thing that we have to do in life. And you as a person, as an individual, have your own, that peace will be yours. And I did hear the gentleman talk about forgive that adultery.
Yeah.
You see, before I drop or before I go, I just want to expatiate on that ideology. What people don't realize is the word adultery is derived from the terminology that has the same connotation for to adulterate. If I take a very clean glass of water, you've seen it, spring water, clean, put in a very clean glass of, very clean. You're looking at it, wow. And I offer you that glass of water. You saw me pour it. It was spring clean water. You will drink that water. You'll take it from me. You'll
Yeah.
gulp it down in the tumbler or in the cup or whatever. But if you see me just dip my finger, the tip of my finger, into some muck, some thing, and then I don't even put my finger all through it. I
Just a bit.
just a little tip on it, but then you saw it in your mind that water is adulterated. Then if I hand that water over to you to tell you to drink, the question is, will you drink it?
No.
The answer is going to be no. Why? Because that water has become adulterated. The same thing. The relationship has become adulterated. And then for one to actually have that water cleansed, it has to go through hours and hours of purification.
Purification, yeah.
So if one has to have a genuine relationship again, there has to be some spiritual counseling, mental purification that has to happen, whereby that person or that situation becomes clean again. Otherwise, there is no way in whatever in this world that that relationship will be healthy again. So if one decides that I can forgive you but I can't stay any longer, that person is justified. So I hope I've been able to say something that's.
We're all different people, and that's why we always come here to rub minds. I mean, everybody's entitled to their opinion. It doesn't have to go down well with me. Mine doesn't have to go down well with you. But everyone knows the kind of relationship they have. And by the time everybody shares, people will be able to pick one or two things that they can relate with that is healthy for them and go along with. So thank you so much, Teacher John King. Thank you so much for that contribution. I really, really appreciate you. Mrs. Williams, I'm gonna come to you now. Woman of wisdom. Today's topic is forgiveness in marriage, and I've done my talk, so I don't want to bore you or again. So I don't know what perspective you want to bring to it. So please let's hear you. I trust your day has been good, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Oh, Teacher Johnny,
Oh,
long time. I've not been seeing you. I'm so happy to see you and glad. See the way I jump to the box when I see that my that is in the box. I was so happy.
You know the funny thing,
Miss Rogers,
Mrs.
thank you
Yeah.
so
Williams, it
much.
was
Good
you that I
evening.
saw. I saw you
Oh,
in the in that I said, oh, if Mrs. Williams is here, it's going to be an interesting conversation.
oh wow. I feel blessed right now. So thank you so much to the two of
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you, sir. Oh, I agree with what teacher what he said. I'm gonna start like this. About 3 days ago,
Mhm.
I've been trying to calculate something, and
Okay.
I know is a teacher is gonna help us in this case. That's why I'm so happy to see him in the box.
He's a bit scared now. Don't scare him off.
No, 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 no. He's very intelligent. Do you know that a post connected me to him because I love when like someone would say there's a man and there is the we have different types of men and then we have different types of father. So I was and I followed him because of that. I think a post that I saw. I think I've told him after that day. So I was so impressed. So now I'm going to when during the teaching, I was driving and I'm like, okay. So I was enjoying everything, even the gentleman that spoke earlier as well. So now this calculation, sir, the Bible says 1,000th year, yeah, is just like a day
Mhm.
in his presence. So if we live 120 years on earth, how many seconds have we lived on earth?
I'm not sure a calculator will be able to calculate this
Teacher,
even.
teacher, uncle, I want you to please, sir. I need you. So you see, you
Okay.
you need to
Bring down
unmute
my
yourself,
calculator.
sir.
No,
Let me see.
I'm trying to do. I'm trying to walk the math first.
Yes, please, please.
Oh my God. Let
But
me.
we're talking about forgiveness, right? Yeah, I want people to know to so okay. Let him keep calculating.
So it will be
So now,
1,000 times.
mm-mm,
We have 24 hours in a
mm-hmm.
day. Okay, no, let me go back to.
That's our assignment today.
No, honestly, let's do it together. 24 hours in a day
Okay.
times 60 minutes times 60 seconds. So in one day we
Mm-hmm.
have how many seconds? I hope that math is right. Is it times 60 or just times 60? 24 hours
I'm not gonna give you the
times
answer. I'm
60.
not gonna give you the answer.
Oh, you have done the answer already. In fact,
I, I, I have to, I have to do a
24.
lot of mathematics. Then I have to speak with the young one, the Gen Z generation, and mathematicians as well, because we need to know that this world. I can see my son is in the building, Mr. Nimsi, Pastor Nimsi. Sorry, so he can help us to work it out as well. I was studying the Bible, and
Times
that was came in, and I
120.
started thinking about it.
I don't even think I'm doing it right. Times
Mhm.
1,000
Look at teacher the way he's thinking.
I
Mary,
think it's about
hey,
12. Is
is
that 12 seconds?
1,000
no, no one has ever lived a 12-second on earth. No one has ever lived 12 seconds on earth.
well, maybe okay. Let me leave it to teacher John King. What's the answer? I'm
I'm gonna
gonna
leave
just
it.
go, but right now I'm not in the math zone
I'm thinking
because
12
my
seconds.
calculator has exploded.
Okay. And
I'm thinking
thank
12
you.
seconds.
Thank you, teacher. No, okay. Now I'm not gonna give the answer, and I'm still gonna bring it up on Sunday. But I want us to think. That is why on earth, Then the Jewish, when I research more, the Jewish, they believe that 1,000 it's just like a day. They believe that a day is 12 hours, just 12 hours. Because you are calculating 24 hours. Even they were thinking, they were calculating 12 hours.
Wow.
All right, now, so I have to research about that. So now let's go. Let's come back to forgiveness and days coming to forgiveness. No one on earth have ever spent a seconds, even if you are 150 years on health. So now, if you haven't spent a second, so why are we keeping each other's at heart?
True word.
I'm going to leave this illustration. Oh, FunmiRoyal, please. Your tongue, your mouth, yeah?
Yeah.
There is two things there that cannot do without the other, which is the tongue and the tooth.
Yeah.
Okay, now, in marriage, let's say the man is the tongue. No. Women quick to talk. Let's use man is the tooth. Because
Okay.
women, they will just come out, my husband do this and that. But by the time you record their action and play it back to them, you know that their mouth is horrible. I'm sorry, women, forgive me. I'm also a woman, but we need to say to be sincere sometimes. Okay, now, then man is the tooth. Then the woman is the tongue. Sometimes women will frustrate the tongue will frustrate the tooth. The the tongue will not now say, you know what? I'm going to the dentist to take out all this tongue, all this tooth in my mouth. Because the tooth, anytime I frustrate the tooth always bite me. So now, then one day, the tongue now go to the dentist and say, remove the tooth. Just remove all the tooth. I don't want it in my mouth. Now, how can the mouth without tooth survive?
I don't know.
Okay, now we're still in the marriage. Let's just be thinking together. So now, I love when it comes to relationship and marriage. So now, one day, the tooth now say, you see this tongue, and the Bible says there is power in our tongue. But sometimes there is a way we use the tongues that some men, some women will use it to frustrate each other, because we forgot that the tongue will frustrate the tooth, and the day the tooth just bite, the whole world will hear.
Yeah.
He has beaten me. Oh, he did this. He's a bad husband. He's a bad man. But since the day you've been using the tongue to depress, to pull him down, to do this, to do that, nobody has seen. But the day the tooth choose to bite, then now the man is a bad man. The woman is a bad woman. Now, can the tooth now wake up and say, I'm going to surgery and tell my GP, just recommend a surgery for me. I want to remove my tongue because I'm just tired of this tongue. Then, I don't know if any doctor is in the house, maybe after removing tongue, if the mouth can survive. I never heard that. I'm still researching, but I haven't come to the answer, because I don't know, maybe someone will still be alive.
The tongue can survive without the teeth in the mouth.
Thank you, sir. The tongue, they both can now. If both cannot survive, I know some people, the Gen Z will be thinking, hey, I'll buy denture. No. Let's forget about denture. Let's forget that there is denture in this world now. So now, this is forgiveness in marriage.
Yeah.
When someone we're born to offend each other, even in the marriage or not in the marriage. I love what the other gentleman said earlier about cheating. I'm kind of that person. Once someone like you cheat, let's just sit down and have a conversation. So that was, but the more we grow, the more we see life in different ways. So now I see that marriage, we both need each other. Forgiveness, because without trust, I'm sorry to tell you that marriage cannot work. I know we mentioned was speaking maybe in, yeah. Yes, teacher. So now let's look at it. So we are meant to endure, and that's why Bible says 7,000 times 7,000 times. How am I going to be writing it? Oh, Mr. Teacher, number one,
We're not living with the devil himself.
oh, then I have a book and I start writing Mary A. Today, 7 times 3, it times 21. Then, Mr. Teacher, I don't like the way he was talking to me earlier, times 3 times 4. Then I now say Onoye times 4 times 5. Then I now say Miss Roger. Now you are having a mental health issue. That's what people will conclude.
True. Very
By
true.
the time you bring out the book and you are telling everyone, yeah, I can't wait for it to be times, that, people will begin to think we're not okay anymore. So now I think in marriage and relationship, it's meant for us to work it out. I love when you're saying not in domestic or DV or DA, no. But in as much that is not involved, let's let's talk. Let's talk, because when we lack communication in our relationship, things mess up. And there's some, I'm sorry, men in the building, some men don't want to talk about it. Some women too, they don't want to talk about it, women.
It's not too common, but for men, it's like men cannot show their feelings, their emotions. Who says?
No. They have to. You know, sometimes some men they want to talk. But you know, some women, yeah, they okay, can we have a talk? You want to have a talk with a man, you are talking for 3 hours. When is it going? Then by the time you finish, you said, okay, that's fine. I'm sorry, let's forget about it. Because you don't, and the man is sorry, tired. You know, imagine the person has been working from morning, finished at 9, came home, shower, had dinner, even late dinner that they can't gym it out. You want to sleep, and you said, "Oh, can we have a conversation?" And the man said, "Okay." The man is thinking, when you start, maybe if I can chip in, then you're talking is 12 o'clock, 1 a.m. And he said, "I know you will not say anything. I know you're not going to talk. And I think we can work this out. If we can't work anything, I will never forgive you. You don't do this, you don't do that." No, you just talk for 2 minutes. Let the man talk. That's why most man will just say, "You know what? Is that all? Okay." If some man will just apologize and leave you. Someone will just say, "Do you know what? I just want to sleep." Someone will just say, "Do you know, is this same thing yesterday? Do you know what? I'm not interested." Oh, do you want to bring it up? Someone will use, you know what we call in my own language, shakara, to say, "Do you know what? I don't want to talk about it, and I don't like it. I hate nice women, blah, 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 blah." The man will just leave. But please, let's try and communicate. With good communication in our relationship, forgiveness will be easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not easy to forgive sometimes. Some people will do something to you that you'll be like, "Oh my God." Like teacher said,
Yeah, the shock.
that you're like, "Oh no, I'm done. I'm tired." I didn't know someone in my family noticed me, and she said something. We're just talking jokingly, and she said, "You, I don't want to have anything," because I was shocked that she noticed that in me when we were growing up. I don't fight. I won't fight you. I won't have you in mind, but I'll put you in your place. And I can put you in your place for 30, 40 years until you come back to your senses. Because if I know you're not something that I can have, we can talk.
Yeah.
And you want to be arguing all the time, you want to be at the top of the voice all the time, I'll just leave you. Because one thing I know, one day you come back to yourself. So there is, if these two things can live together comfortably, and God intentionally put them together without domestic abuse and the other one, we can work it out. And not emotional, financial, physical, all those things, we can work it out. And we can easily forgive ourselves, because when the love is in when there is love there,
In there, yeah.
forgiveness is so easy. I was talking to someone when the young lady wants to get married. She said, "Oh, my husband cannot never offended me, never. He cannot do anything that will make me." I said, "Okay." So after a few months, I said, "Oh," she called me. She said, "Oh, this." I said, "Oh, do you remember when I was telling you that you need to go for this? You need to go for so things." And she said, "Yes, thank you for telling me to go for counseling. That is
Hmm.
what helped me. I never knew my husband would ever do anything to hurt me." Yes, it's true. I never knew my wife can do such a thing.
Hmm.
Marriage is a box.
Oh,
It's like a box. So whatever we found in it, we need to work it out
yeah.
and to have a good and that's why when you see two couples walk away, like, okay, unfortunately it's not going to work, let's go on a different way. Please, don't let us judge them.
Yeah.
We don't know what has been never judge anyone
Marriage
because
is
we're
not a
not there.
death sentence. No, that is not God's
Yes,
intention. Yeah.
not a bit. If it's not working, let's sit down and talk it out like a uh,
Adult.
matured mind. Yes, and then we can now come to our own conclusion. So I don't think we shouldn't forgive each other. Thank you very much for
Thank
having
you
me. God bless you. I
so
hope you
much.
learned something. Thank you.
She's a woman of wisdom, you know, she's got wisdom enough to last us a lifetime. Thank you so much. You know, when she started with the calculation, I'm thinking in my head, where is she going with this one? Even my calculator gave up on me here. But the bottom line is, thank you so much, Mrs. Williams. The bottom line is, we should learn to forgive one another. It's hard. Sometimes you might need help, you know, forgiving your spouse. And like she said, one of the key things a marriage relationship requires to work well is communication. Even if you're going to go your separate ways, you will have to talk about it and let it be amicable. Not that one day your spouse will just come into the house, the whole house is empty, you're gone. No talk, no explanation, no nothing. That is not ideal. So even if you decide, let's say the worst come to the worst, you're not getting on together as you should and you want to go your separate ways, it's something you still sit down and talk about, especially when children are involved. At some point you might even have to call the children and sit them down, talk to them and all of that. But at the end of the day, whether you leave that relationship or you stay in there, you will still have to forgive this person for your own sake. So even if you walk away and you're carrying all of that bitterness, or it's not healthy for you, so you have to let it go at some point so you can be healthy mentally again. So thank you so much, Mrs. Williams. I know, Miss Rogers, thank you so much for your patience. We have about 3 more minutes to go, so I will give you the whole 3 minutes. Miss Rogers, thank you so much for your patience. I trust your week has been good as well. You're welcome.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Ah, thank you so much for bringing me up.
Welcome.
Deeply humbled.
Thank you.
Um, I don't know, Mrs. Williams has said everything already. I don't even know where to start from again. Like I'm overwhelmed by the deep knowledge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I will not be speaking from experience when it comes to marriage because I'm not married, but
That's fine.
from what I have seen, and then from relationships, from other from colleagues, I would say, yeah, forgiveness is key. Is key to your mental health. Is key to your own sanity. First
Mm-hmm.
of all,
Mm-hmm.
personally, if I am angry, I don't function properly because everything is.
We'll
I'll
suffer.
be agitated easily. So, if first of all, it affects me. So, even sometimes gives me chest pain.
Wow.
It
I
can be
mentioned
that
that
serious.
earlier in my talk. Gives you chest pain, insomnia, you know.
Yes. So, I have learned over time that forgiveness, in fact, I learned from a friend that he forgives you in advance because we are humans and
Yeah.
somehow, as you offend somebody, somebody will offend you. The cycle goes on and on. So he will just tell you, I have forgiven you in advance. Anything you think you are going to do, I have forgiven you so that I will not have any problem with myself.
Mm-hmm.
It might hurt for a bit, but in essence is that he has forgiven you. He does not keep that grudge
Yeah. Yeah.
for too long that he cannot let go. There's nothing that is unforgivable.
Mm-hmm.
It might take time. Some things are so deep
Yeah.
and grievous that it might take time.
Yes.
But there's nothing unforgivable because if God start counting every sin committed every day, I don't know who will survive it.
Nobody.
Nobody will. So if you now say you are marrying a person or you decide to marry because it's a deliberate conscious act,
Mm-hmm.
then you should already have it at the back of your mind that whatever this person does,
Yeah.
you are ready to forgive because who is our exemplar? Christ. Just
Yeah.
as Christ, if we are following Christ, then we should learn that forgiveness is one thing he always preached about. Because imagine him dying for our sin, a
Mm.
sin he didn't commit. He is dying to reconcile us to the Father.
Mm-hmm.
And still, he is not angry that he died for
Yeah.
something he did not commit.
Even on top of that, we still offend and we'll go back.
And yet, he's still forgiving,
Mm.
telling you, come back. There's no guilt. Whatever you have done, I'm ready to accept you. Come back. Even with all this, so he's still saying, you see, no problem. Come, just come.
Mm-hmm.
Then if he's our exemplar, then we really need to do better and follow him if we are really following him. Because in this life, if it's for offenses, he's always come. And sometimes when I even sit and say, is this the thing that was making me angry? It can be so petty, but you hold it so dear that yes, this person did this to me. No,
Correct.
no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Ever since I gave myself that peace, I think I've been adding weight because that burden of carrying somebody in your
On my
mind
own
is
one
a
side.
whole lot.
Mm.
Is a whole lot. What the day you decide to let go, you see how there's this peace that it brings. There's this quiet, there's this calmness that you
You
have,
just
and
speak
coordination.
better. Yeah.
You focus more on important things
Mm.
and you move better. If it's for your spouse, some person say, if he cheats, I will never forgive him. And see,
It's a big
see, when
lie.
I hear things like that, I know it hurts. I've not been there, but I know it will hurt.
Yeah.
But like she said, communication is everything. Some people don't communicate. I
Yeah.
don't know how they ended up getting married without communication. Some people were not communicating, they got married eventually, they are still not communicating. But in
God
I've
did
also
not
learned,
help them.
yeah, some people they are just living together. They don't talk. Talking is the last thing that happens.
Hmm.
But I have also learned that it's still not late, even if you are in such category, people are in such category. Learning is a continuous
Better late
learning.
than never. Yeah.
Never, yeah. It's a continuous thing. There's no limits to learning. There's
Mm.
no limits. Any day you place your mind that you have learned everything, you cannot learn again. That's where your problem starts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just have an open mind and learn, unlearn, relearn continuously.
Yes.
Till we're not in this
Absolutely.
world again. That is how it keeps going. So forgiveness is important. We must. It's a must. For your sake first, before you talk of the next person. For your sake.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I want to say.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for that submission. That was, in fact, is on point as well. Forgiveness is key. Communication is key. Forgiving yourself, letting go for your own mental well-being is key. But Batini says, I think it varies for different people, and we should not think everyone will forgive us. Definitely, not everyone will forgive us, and that's what we talked about earlier about you forgiving yourself. You've gone. Bible says, "In as much as it lies with you, make peace with all men." Not all men will want to make peace with you, and I thank you so much for that, Babatunde. Very true as well. And if somebody says they don't want to forgive you, it's not the end of the world either. But you learn to forgive yourself and do better and move on, and leave them to deal with the situation the way, however, they deem fit to deal with it. Don't let that affect you. Forgive yourself and do better. Onoye, you know our time is gone, but I just let you for 1 minute because you said you wanted to say something. So before I round off completely, Onoye, over to you. Are you still there, Onoye? You say you wanted to say something. Otherwise, I'll be closing. Okay, he's gone. I'm not sure. He didn't type it out. If not, I would have picked it up. Okay, let me just see.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Okay, we couldn't hear you
Okay,
before.
okay, good. Let me just say quickly.
One
Yeah,
second. Say there are people who offend you knowingly because they think they can get away with offense. I know. It's amazing how I talked about that in my talk as well. Some people feel because you forgive them, you're a soft-hearted person, and the fact that you've forgiven them, they just come back, do something else again. They say, "Oh, is FunmiRoyal? She will always forgive me." It's not nice a thing to do. Please, let's not be that person. Thank you so much for Sunday for your submission. Maybe next time I'll bring you into the box, but right now we're trying to round off as quickly as we can. So Onoye, over to you.
okay, so very quick. You know, when some people speak about forgiveness, they don't really know the depth of it. Now, there are some certain things you cannot actually forgive, or you can try and forgive, but you're going to work you, which is devaluation. Yeah, and then if you want to put it in the Christian term, the Bible says the only thing that it cannot forgive is when you blaspheme. When you blaspheme against the Holy Spirit,
Mm-hmm.
God will never forgive you on that because you're trying to devalue the purpose of God.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, if you devalue a human being, yeah, that person will never forgive you. And there are some certain words people will say to you that you will say, "This person want to devalue me." Now, these are one of the words being said to me by a sister. I would prefer to give my money to a mad person than giving it to you. You see, that is a devalue. You see that?
Wow.
Good. It's a strong word. And for those who think forgiveness is a kinikon, kinika, that is the person don't understand what words is all about. Now, if you understand what word is all about, as I say, you will forgive. You just have to walk away. Because one, the reason why you walk away, and there's one there's one scripture that says, yeah, when the Bible says, "I will prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemy." Now, what that thing is trying to say, by my understanding, is don't let what someone did to you damage you that you cannot survive it. Because God still want to bless you so that you can sit in front of those people who really want to eliminate you. So don't let anybody offense damage you that you cannot survive.
That's right.
So
Thank you so much
So
for that.
get the heat, feel the pain. Let them stab you with that needle. Survive it so that next time when you come, when you sit in front of them, then you
You
can
have a
smile.
thicker skin. You have a thicker skin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you can sit again with them and eat. So that's it. You will sit in that table in the presence of your enemy and you will see the eat. Your enemy will look you looking at your enemy, you will smiling, you will shooing. So survive it. So survive it. Now the David could actually forgive his brethren, yeah, because David have survived it.
Oh, he
He
did. He survived
succeeded.
the
So
hardest
now,
way.
yeah, he have survived it, and then his enemies now cannot even touch him anymore. So you must survive yourself to that point that your enemy can no longer touch you. Then you can see forgiveness as a simple stuff. Okay, so then you can see forgiveness as a simple stuff. If you have not built yourself to this level, you will not understand what forgiveness is all about. So that's what the man did. So right now, for us that we have this heat, that's how we could talk it this way. We could smile and say, "Yeah, yeah, we know what it is, but we just want to
Oh,
mind our business.
exactly.
We know what it is."
But some of us have been there time and time again, and we're still alive. You know, now we're even more matured in it. In fact, before I think it was Miss Rogers saying that before, and that's the practice. That's how it should be. Forgive them way ahead before the offense even comes. That way you sleep peacefully. You know, you will not have no stress, insomnia, or heart pain in your chest or whatever it is. So thank you so much, Onoye, for adding that to it. Thank you so much to everyone that has contributed today. I believe everyone has learned so many things, so many things. Whatever fits couples A might not fit couples B, but I want to believe that everyone has been able to pick something tangible that will help them. But above all, let's talk about things. Let's learn to forgive, whether the hard way or the soft way, whichever way. And the people seeking the forgiveness, please do not take it for granted at all. Please do not abuse the forgiveness of your spouse. This marriage, I mean, like I said, not talking about DVs, DAs, it's supposed to be till death do us part. So imagine you're going to be in that relation for 60 years. Offense will definitely come. But we should learn to forgive. We should learn to love, talk about things, don't bottle anything up, and give each other time to heal from that pain, from that hurt. Thank you guys so much. Till I come your way on Monday, where we'll be talking about general talks. And also, of course, love to hear from you. I remain yours, FunmiRoyal. I will come back on Monday, 6 p.m. UK time on Insight with FunmiRoyal. Thank you guys so much for all the gifters, all the sharers. Oh, every one of you, thank you so much. Everyone on the FI page, I salute, I greet you. Have a wonderful night rest till I come your way again. Good night. Thank you, Onoye. Thank you, Mary. Miss Rogers, thank you.